Okay, so last class we talked about vertex form, and this is standard form, and we were looking at this equation right here. Josh just told us that the a value is 1, because 1x squared is the same as x squared. What's the b value?
-1.
The b is next to the regular x, that's -4, and the c?
3.
The c is 3, good. So the first thing you can plot on your graph is you can plot the y-intercept, because if I put 0 in for my x's, I'm going to get 0 here and 0 here. So this last number is going to be my y-intercept, so 0, 3. So that's not the vertex, but that is where your graph crosses the y-axis. To find the vertex, you're going to use this formula, the opposite of b over twice a. And that's going to tell you the x-coordinate of the vertex. So what's the opposite of -4? Spencer? What's the opposite of -4?
4.
Right? And then over twice a, so 2 times 1. So what do we get? 2, right. So 2 is the x-coordinate of the vertex. To find the y-coordinate of the vertex, we just substitute that value back into the original equation. So here's my original equation. And then instead of the x's, I'm going to put the 2. Okay, so something squared, that something is going to be 2. Okay, so 2 squared minus 4 times something, that's also 2. All right, so you can do that in your head or you can do that on the calculator. But basically we plug 2 into the equation and then see what you get, compare an answer with a neighbor. So we took the 2 that we got, we plugged it back into the equation.
Wait, how do we get, for the h equals thing, how do we get 2 on the bottom?
This one here.
Yeah.
So the formula is 2 times a.
So it's based off of formula.
Yeah. So use this formula always to find the x-coordinate if you're talking about standard form.
Wait, is it a 6 or a B?
Oh, that's a b. B. Still doesn't look like a b, but it's a b. So negative b. All right, so what do you guys get for 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3?
-1.
May have got -1. Anybody agree or disagree? You got the same thing, thank you. All right, so -1. So that means the x of the vertex is 2 and the y of the vertex is -1. 2, -1, 2, -1. All right, and the a value is 1. What does that mean about stretch? Is it stretched? Right, so there's no stretch, which means we're going to follow the same pattern as before. Over 1 and up 1. Over 2 and up 4. And look, when we go over 2 and up 4, we hit that same y-intercept there. And then you graph it in. And the axis of symmetry goes right through the vertex. So it's going to be x equals what number? I heard somebody say it. X equals 2. Good. Okay, what could we do if we're not sure if we got it right? Put in the calculator. So go ahead and put in the calculator and see if we did this right. All right, let me move it into my view. There we go. So y equals, and clear out what you had before, and we're going to put in 1x squared x, then the squared, minus 4x, and plus 3, and graph it. Okay, does it look right? Yeah, and then you can do second graph if you want to look at the points to make sure the points are right, but it looks pretty good. All right, next one. Oh, I need to tell you what examples to put in there. Okay, let me find them. Okay, for the first one, we're going to do x squared minus 3. So y equals x squared minus 3. So do you guys see how we're missing the middle part? if our A is 1 and we're missing the middle part, what number do you think B is going to be? I heard a vote for 0 and a vote for 1. If it's completely missing in the middle. Yep, very good. And the C? -3, good. So then the x of your vertex is going to be -b over 2a. What's -0? 0 over 2 times 1. So 0 over 2 is 0, good. All right, and then we're going to plug that back in. So let's see, k is going to be something squared minus 3, and you plug the 0 in. So what's 0 minus 3? -3. Yeah, so your vertex is 0, -3. So you want to plot 0, -3. And your A value is 1, which means no stretch. So figure out your other points. And I'm going to put up the other example we're going to do here. Okay. And if you finish example 3 really fast, you can try this one, -x squared plus 8x minus 10. But we're definitely going to do example 3. We might do example 4 if we get through to that. I need a y equals in front. Y equals. Okay. So try this one. Try to do the a, b, and c, and then do the -b over 2a. And I'll come around and see how you're doing. Oh wait, we didn't finish graphing this one, did we? So I told you guys to follow your pattern. Did you go over 1, up 1? Like that? And then go back to the vertex and go over 2 and up 4. Like that. And then make sure it looks like a U shape and not a V shape. Okay, so your A value came before the x squared, and your B value, -12, and your C value. So for the H, the opposite of B is 12, and then 2 times A. So you guys got 12 over 4, so I think everybody already got 3 there. And then for the K, you're plugging back into this equation, so 2 times something squared minus 12 times something plus 15. And you took that 3 and you plugged it in there. So what are you guys getting for K?
-3.
Okay, Josh got -3. Anybody else get -3? All right, Maeve got -3. Are you guys getting anything different from -3? Or are you agreeing on that? What'd you get?
I didn't realize there was a kid.
Okay. Okay, so we'll plug it in and make sure you agree with that. Let's see, I get 9, 18 minus 36 is -18 plus 15 is -3. I think it makes sense to me that it's -3, but I could be making a mistake. That's what you got though, right? -3?
Yeah.
So 3, -3. 3, -3. Mark it. Oh, good. All right. We're all agreeing now. And then the A value is 2. So if the A value is 2, what do we have to do with our over 1, up 1 pattern? Times it by 2, right? So it's going to be stretched. And it's going to be stretched vertically, which is up and down. So over 1, up 2. But the tricky one is the next one. When I go over 2, how much do I go up? 8, right, twice as much. So over 2 and up 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. All right, so if you were working ahead, you could have done the last one. You can save that one because I think some of you don't have homework today, so you'll have time to do some extra problems. But we'll save this one, and let's turn the page, okay? All right, so intercept form looks like this. Y equals x minus p times x minus q. They use different letters. They use P and Q because they don't want you to get confused and think it's the vertex. It's not the vertex. But these are x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are the opposite of this number and the opposite of this number. They're both opposites. So there's one at 2 and there's one at -8, and that's going to be 2, 0 and -8, 0. So 2, 0 and -8, 0. Those are your intercepts. All right, so the parabola is going to go through those points. Like it could look like that, or it could be upside down, and it could look like that. We'll figure it out in a minute. But what we're going to find next is the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is halfway between those points. So what you want to do is you want to start counting in to figure out where's the middle between 2 and -8. Or if you don't like counting and you prefer to do it mathematically, you can average these two numbers. You can add 2 and -8 and then divide that answer by 2. So I might do that just for fun. So I would have 2 plus -8 and then divide it by 2. What number's in the middle? 5 is over here. Okay, -5 somewhere in the middle, but I don't feel like it's even between the two. Yeah, I get -3 is like exactly between the two, so -3 is where your axis of symmetry is.
I was looking at 4 numbers.
Okay, that's good. I thought you probably found it. Okay, so that's right in between your 2 points, so you write in x equals -3. And then to find the vertex, what you're going to do is you're going to put -3 in to your equation here. So this equation, you put it here, and you put -3 for both of the x's. So -3 minus 2, -3 plus 8. And you can use your calculator, or you can just do that in your head. Sorry, it went away. Let me see if I can fix this. Okay. Oops, I need parentheses. -3 minus 2, and -3 plus 8. What'd you guys get? I got a really weird number. All right, anybody get -25 like Maeve? Yeah, I got that too, which is actually the right answer. Just I didn't plan ahead for that number. So my vertex is at -3, -25. So let's figure out where would -25 be. I think it's going to be a little bit off the graph. All right, so let's make our axis of symmetry go down farther. If this is -10 here, I'm going to say -20 is going to be somewhere around here, right? So -25 might be just like around here. So I went -3, -25. And then we're going to just graph this parabola with 3 points. I've got the x-intercepts and I've got the vertex. So it's got to go through the x-intercepts. Like that. I know, kind of crazy. Also, it's really difficult to write on this. Mine looks like a V shape, so that's not good. You should make yours more rounded, okay? I might even try to erase it and make it better. And then after that, you guys are going to work together on some problems. Okay, the intercepts come from the opposite of these, right? So the opposite of 1 gives us what?
-1.
Yep, and then the opposite of -1 gives us 1. So I have -1, 0, and I have 1, 0. So you're going to graph those two. -1, 0, and 1, 0. And then your axis of symmetry is like halfway between those. So what number is right between -1 and 1? 0. So that's your axis of symmetry. So graph that. And then you're going to put 0 back into your equation. So you're going to have y equals 4, parentheses, 0 plus 1, 0 minus 1. And you can do that in your head or in your calculator, and you'll get the y from your vertex. All right, what do you guys get? -4. So 0, -4 is here And then you're gonna graph your parabola through the intercepts. And right there, okay? Alright, so what I'm gonna have you do next is try example 3. You're gonna look for the intercepts, but this one's a little bit different because, well, first of all, I wrote on top of it, it's -3 x and then x minus 6. So do you see how this x doesn't have a plus or a minus? You could rewrite it like this. X is the same as x minus 0, right? So you could rewrite it as x minus 0, and you still have the -3 in front. And now you can see that you're going to have an intercept here and here, right? So fill in your intercepts, and then find what's in between them.
Oh, that's way too high.
It's going to be too high?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll find out in just a second. Maybe our parabolas will intersect.
Equal x.
That's going to be the x of the vertex, yes. Okay.
So the P and Q are the 6 and 0?
Say that again?
The P and Q are going to be 6 and 0?
Yes, the P and Q are 6 and 0. So the intercepts are 0, 0, and 6, 0. And then you guys found your axis of symmetry halfway between there, which was right here. So what number was that? 3, good. X equals 3, and then you plugged it back in here. So you can plug it into the original or the one where we changed it to x minus 0. It doesn't really matter. -3 times 3 times 3 minus 6. What did you guys get from that?
-18.
I think it's even smaller than that. -3 times 3 times 3 minus 6. Oh wait, is it a positive 27?
I got a positive 27.
Yeah, I think it's positive because that's negative, that's positive, and that's negative. So I went back to this one. 327. So that's going to be like way up here. I might need to move my graph so I can look at it better. So this is 10, 20, 27 is going to be somewhere up here.
Plug in 32.
Okay.
32 x's.
Whoa. It's really hard for me to draw these on here, but it's supposed to go through this point right here. Let me try harder. Okay, closer. All right, so those are some crazy parabolas, but I think you got the idea. So I'm gonna stop with the notes. You're gonna either work on your homework assignment, or if you don't have your homework assignment, you're gonna work on the practice problems on the next page.
We're working outside.